All right, everybody, welcome to RPG Boons, the Age of Ruin and Exploration solo play along, where you take your PC that you created and you're taking on a legit adventure. It's a little railroady because, it's pre-recorded, but we do make some die rolls to give us, randomness. And I don't really railroad it in that regard because we have to roll the dice. Now, if you've already been here and you played part 1, you know this video's timestamped. And so then you can just go to the timestamp and start playing along, especially since this is a part 2 of the previous video, which is St. Abbey 21 Days Later. If this is your first time here, you can essentially play along. It doesn't really matter. And a final thing I was going to say, just in a quick announcement, is I've been getting really bad stream quality. The video keeps chopping off. So what I'm going to do from this point on, I think, is just go take a roll style, pre-record, and then upload it to my regular video feed. Now, the cool thing about that is I'll be able to add some sound effects here and there, I think. I'm pretty sure I will be. But the only downside is, for those of you who do stop by, check it out, and, I see the views, people stop by and hang out for a bit. You're not going to be able to do that anymore. So with that being said, let's go ahead and just proceed forward, because today I decided whether or not I have a bad streaming connection, I'm just going to hit record, and I should be able to just upload this at a later time. So first things first, first thing we want to do, these are just kind of general rules for the game in case you haven't been here before, or if you forgot, this is your second time here, is we want you to level up your PC. And today we're going to be playing Shadowdark, so don't run away. If you already know that, but don't run away. It's a D&D 5e and D&D 1e, but mostly a D&D 1e hybrid. Okay, so it's mostly a D&D 1e, but it has some 5e mechanics. It sprinkles in a little bit of other stuff from like Fantasy Age. It has a little bit of some of the charts in there. But essentially, this is a 1e, 5e Dungeons & Dragons game. That's what Shadowdark is. And so I want you to level your PC to 3 to 6, somewhere in that range, okay? And I also want to give yourself a magical item. So if your PC does not have a magical item, then make sure it has one. If you've been here before, then you know exactly what to do there because of the Shadowdark system. If not, I'm actually going to show you how to generate a magical item here shortly. The other thing is, if I don't mention it, remember this is in vivo, so sometimes, I do this near the witching hour. On the witching hour today, it's near. So, I forget little things, but make little errors because I have sleepyhead. But all DCs are DC 10, and I do that because I want your ability scores to matter. Unless I otherwise specify. So if I say a different number, that's when you want to use it. If I don't say it, it's a DC 10. Otherwise, in general, it's DC 10. Sweet elixir. If any images on your screen look blurry, it's literally because your resolution of your YouTube settings is low. Okay. The other thing is that this is all live video in general tends to be slow. So my recommendation is do it at 1.25 speed. Although I might actually just do this. No, I guess I better just upload it. I was thinking about when I start doing this, record it and upload. Should I speed it up? But I don't think I will. So I'll give you the option every time to go ahead and, put it at 1.25 speed. So the next thing we want to do is I'll let you know that we're using the 2-point action system. Okay. And so let's go over here on the auto side. I use PowerPoint as a format, so, bear with me. I'm thinking about using a different format, but it's so much easier to set up. If you've done these other online things, if you have to set up Fog of War, you have to do all this stuff, and it could take a lot of time. Okay, so we're using the 2-point action system, and basically the way it works is I think this solves a lot of the math problems that OSR has, okay? And we're going to use a medium magic setting. So you start with 2 points at any given time. But this is more relevant for combat, but at any given time you have 2 points, and at the very end of your turn you get those 2 points back. So you use them up to your turn, and during your turn ends, you get 2 points in case you need to reaction, because reactions are part of the 2-point action system. And again, this solves the math problem in OSRs, because usually in OSR you can move, attack, move, but you can't attack, okay? So the rules are your primary moves are either move, melee, or spellcast in general, right, when you're in combat. Then the second move is just your standard move, okay? It's going to cost you 1 point, so all these here are going to cost 1 point. The second attack, doesn't matter if it's melee or ranged, not magic though, takes a -3 penalty, okay? So if you attack once, then you're taking a second attack, and then it takes a -3 penalty. And the reason it does that is because for role-playing purposes, when you're swinging a weapon at somebody or you've launched an arrow at somebody, they're alerted to your attacks. So you go in for a second one, it gives you a -3 penalty, which is equal to a decrease in DC level in Shadowdark, because they're ready for that attack, okay? Now the second spellcast is allowed in the medium magic setting. It has limitations. It has to be a tier 1 spell, single targeting, right? Just one person. And it can't have any non-incapacitating effect, like they're tangled, they're dizzy, they're sleepy, nothing like that. It just has to be a straight up spell cast. And one, well, I guess it has to give, it can give benefits, right? And the reason I say is because the priest can cast Cure Wounds. Like, it's actually the only spell so far, I think, that the priest has that they can cast as a second spell cast. All right, so let's go to the reactions. So these are just like reactions. They don't really go on your turn, but you're reacting to something. The first one is parry block. Okay, so anybody can do this. So if you're a wizard, you can pick up a piece of wood, something that you can use to block yourself with. Or, you know, if it's a fist, you can put your hand up to block. That's going to give the attacker a -2 penalty. And again, this is just for those slim chances of them hitting you. You can decrease -2, so right at your AC level. But if you're a weapon proficient, okay, and of course you get those in Shadowdark, you get weapon proficiencies, or at least the weapons listed are the ones you're proficient in, you can add your dexterity modifier. So it really helps your dexterity modifier matter. And if you have really high dexterity, you can have a really high parry block, you know, and again, it costs 1 action point. So on your turn, you would only have 1 action point left to do one thing. The other thing is the dive reaction. Okay, now this is really only to keep you alive, right? So this is just like in the movies, when there's no other options, you're about to die or about to take a death blow of some kind, the blow is really damaging, you dive, okay? So it has to be line of sight. The attacker takes a -5 penalty. So again, this is something everybody can do. And when you dive, you basically fall prone. You're on the floor, right? You're just kind of diving for your life. And while you're prone, you can also like roll to another square as long as there's one there. Okay, so I put dive to line of sight space, but this also means you can jump that distance as well. So right, so as farthest you can jump. Now in Shadowdark there is no jump distance, so I created one which is basically 1 plus your strength modifier with a minimum of 1. So no matter what, you can jump to an adjacent square for dive. But again, if you have high strength, you can actually dive up to 20 squares, right? Like, sorry, 20 squares, 20 feet. And if you happen to want to use, you know, a jump as part of your move, you can double basically the jump distance, okay? And then the final thing is stand prone, right? So that this is what really makes diving such a very last resort kind of thing. As soon as you dive to wherever you are prone, and then you have to spend your action to get up. So basically, for your turn, as a reaction, you dive before your turn, fall prone, and then on your turn, all you can do is stand up. I mean, you can attempt to, you know, shoot a bow from the floor. I would say you got disadvantage or something, but basically you have to spend a point to get up. So for your turn, you literally just get back up so that you can do something for the following turn, right? So you might even spend an entire time just diving, trying to dodge away from these attacks, which is somewhat what you see in the movies, right? This hacking, and then you're diving out of the way. So that's a 2-point action system. We're going to mention it a little bit later. But that's pretty much it. So if this is your first time here, first thing we want to do is we want to do PC creation. We're using Shadowdark, remember the 1E, 5E hybrid, but you're also allowed to bring, you know, Beckme, Whitebox, any of these other old school games, because they're all compatible essentially with the 2-point action system and this game. I have an entire video showing how OSR games are very similar. So let's create that character, all right? First thing I want you to do is go to shadowdarklinks.net. The link will be in the description. Sweet elixir again. And when you get here, typically the scrolls are all clicked on, so you want to turn them off. this for today, we're going to turn them off just because I'm going to show you how to create it with the core classes, which is thief, fighter, wizard, and priest. Okay, so then you go down here. It says generation method, random one, best fit. And then all you do, normally this is not down below that, you just click random. And then you see it creates a character. So it gives you a name, block nog, goblin, thief. It tells you a little background, sailor. And because it's a thief, it should have dexterity as the highest attribute. And in this case, it does. It's 14. And then if you are happy with this, let's say so you're okay with the level 1 PC, you just hit create PDF at the very bottom. Okay, export, and it creates a PDF. If you don't have Adobe or something like that, it'll just throw it up on your browser. Okay, and so you'll still have the character sheet there. So even if you're playing on, you can play with this on your phone. And the other thing, because I mentioned earlier, we're going to play from level 3 to 6. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to just level up this character to 3 so you can kind of see what leveling looks like. So they have XP or milestone. I like the XP because you can actually give legit XP points, but we're just going to hit milestone, and then we're going to gain to level 2, gain to level 3. Okay, and just for fun, let's just say we go to level 4. Then it allows you to, roll these hit points. Right now, you got more hit points again, but you're also going to get a talent at level 3. We're a thief, so we're going to add +2 to dexterity. We want to add more hit points, and you're basically done. Then it gives you the backstab, right? It increases +3 extra weapon damage dice when you do a backstab. And that's it. Now you can hit the export. So I'm going to hit it this time. My computer will pop it up on my Adobe, and it'll also pop it up on browser if I want. But there it is. So if you are playing with your phone, you can actually take this thief and screenshot this. Again, if these details are missing, it's literally the definition of your YouTube. And you'd be ready to go today, ready for the Age of Ruin. Okay, so what I'm going to quickly do is just show you how easily you can continue to regenerate characters, right? So let me go back to the browser. Let's say you're unhappy, or once you click this generate random character, you got a thief and you don't want a thief, you just keep hitting it. You see how it keeps saying these are new characters every single time. In addition, if you scroll down a little bit, you can look at their stat rolls or ability scores. There's so many different names, but you can look at those and continuously hit it until you get what you want. So again, I mentioned that this thief, look at 12 dexterity, pretty pathetic, right? We're gonna do fighter. This fighter has 14 strength. You want to be better than that. Priest, high wisdom. These are not very good rolls. So here, priest again. Now we have a 16 wisdom. So maybe you want to work with this one. Go down, level it. Okay. And we can continue to do this with all until not only these classes, but if you want to look at the other classes, you can add those as well. And it'll randomly generate those for you. So also, if you're creating your dungeon master, you want to create a bunch of characters. Click this. Go down. Create PDF. Print. Right. Now, the last thing I'll show you is that I'm not even going to show you, but I'm just going to tell you is you can just design your character from scratch. We're not going to go through it, but basically you go through it, you type in your name, and you'll notice too, you can actually modify a lot of these things. You know what I mean? There's little tabs on the right here, but you can seriously go through, do a very customized character, keep it with you at all times. Okay. And that's that for that. Now, I think the final thing I'm going to show you is the virtual die roller. So if you are playing on your phone, you can go to hard dice, okay, and they have a virtual roller. I'm gonna click there, and it'll take a second, but it'll upload. It's pretty cool. If you haven't seen this before, here we go, virtual roller. So at any time you just threw a 20 out there, you can hit the sweep button to get rid of any dice you're looking at. If you have an advantage, you clicked it twice, okay. And it gives you, and the other thing you can do is you can take the dice, shuffle them around and throw them, or just give them the mimic, and the mimic shoots them out for you. Give you some random die rolls. Okay, so sweep. You can do 3d6 damage, 3d8, 2d10, whatever it is you need, it's all here, okay? And that's the virtual die roller. So if you're playing with your phone, you can actually see, you should be able to see this, and you should be able to play along on your phone, and just keep going back to the virtual die roller to do your die rolls, okay? And with that, I'll show you very quickly, but this is a Shadowdark game, but I want to show you, where you can get actually a BX character, which is almost identical to the Beckme, Redbox, as well as other old D&D copies. So you go to fast character, there it is, .com. you pick D&D VX on the right here, okay? Close the ad. Now you can just basically create a character very quick. Again, we want to do level 4. I always like picking the elf because it's basically an Eldritch Knight, right? It's a fighter and a magic user. And then don't roll for your stats, just click character create. And look at that, full character sheet, weapon, gold pieces, 505 gold pieces, 4 gems. It gives you even pages you can go to look at for basic rules for D&D, for retainers. Gives you weapon. It does have that descending armor class, but we have a descending armor class converter. And actually it does it here for you. It tells you if an armor class of 7 is there, then you only need a 9 to hit with your sword and so forth. Gives you damage. And of course, we're not going to be using these saving throws because we're going to be using Shadowdark saving throws. And you might want to use Shadowdark ability score modifiers, which I'll show you here in a second. So you can just generate the character, and similar as before, you can go back and just regenerate, and create the character that you want. Okay, so let's go. Let me click this off. I'll leave the virtual roller because maybe we'll use it. But I think let's go to the actual PowerPoint. Let's go to this character creation area. Go over some of the basics real quick right before we start. So I mentioned you need a magic item. And if you got a pre-generated character and all the equipment sucks, or you need better armor, you're going to get gold pieces, Shadowdark gold pieces. Or if you're getting, if you're making a BX character, divided by 10, okay? But you're basically going to keep the gem, but divide the gold pieces by 10. But here's the ability score modifiers that I mentioned. So if you're using BECME, BX, or any of the OSR games, you want to use these ability score modifiers. And for gold in this game, you're going to get your level times 10, right? So we said level 4 characters, you'd have 40 gold pieces. Let me zoom in a little bit. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, so we mentioned earlier that the second spell cast, here's a list of the known second spell casts from Curse Scrolls 1 through 4. I thought I added 5 and 6, but I'll go back and double check, add them. But you can see it's really the wizard, a little bit of the witch. You can see here is that can do the second spell cast, where the priest, the only second spell cast it has is Cure Wounds, which makes sense. Second point, 2% action systems compatible with all these OSR games. Better with Shadowdark, D&D 1E, BX, BECME, Old School Central, Osprey. These are really compatible with these. Still compatible with Castle and Crusades and Sagaborn because they use the same type of action system there. As well as, I don't think I'm missing, there's a few out there, guys. I can't list them all because a lot of them that are out there are just recreations of 1E, 2E, or, they're improved versions of them. So the game is, we're going to use basic Shadowdark rules. So if you cast a spell and it fails, then the spell, you can no longer cast a spell. But as long as you can successfully cast a spell, you can continuously use it, okay? And that's one big rule for Shadowdark. And the DC is always the spell level plus 10 plus the spell level, right? So if you're playing with BECME, you're using a 3rd level spell, it's 13 DC to cast it, or you should roll 13 or higher for the spell to work and you to keep casting it as long as you successfully do so. Otherwise, you can't cast it anymore. And just some very quick notes for the spells. The second spell cast, okay? It's a cantrip, a tier 1 spell here in Shadowdark. Or in Sagaborn, it's a 0 to 1 point spell. And if the system has no cantrip, then it's a level 1, rank 1, or circle 1 spell. Okay? And we'll go over henchmen in a bit. Right. So remember, now you have gold pieces equal to your level times 10. This is the list of weapons and gear. Okay? You can see the gold pieces there. So you can get a pick one here. This is where you can pause the video, take a look-see. And then below this, and I took all the weapons from the different curse scrolls as well. And below this are the weapon attributes, okay? You can see here's plate armor, here's the weapon list again. So quick pause. Here's the armor, as well as all the weapon properties. You'll see that all these weapons have some type of property, BF, blah, 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 blah. These are all listed here, okay? Now, basic gear is less important in our game, although it is important sometimes. I don't want to say don't get any basic gear because sometimes I'll come up with a situation, and also sometimes your background matters. I'll come up with a situation, and maybe your background or basic gear would help you, and you have to RP that on your own, which is of course the unfortunate part. So the crawling kit, I'm just kind of pausing here so you can snapshot these and take them with you. But let's talk about magical items. I want you to have at least one magical item. And I want it to matter too, right? So if you're a fighter, some type of melee attacking character, you should choose a weapon, armor, potion, maybe a scroll, maybe, but most likely armor, weapon. You could use a utility, but once you pick one of these, you need to randomize, right? So you randomize whether is it leather, what's the armor bonus or attack bonus. This is also for attack. And does it have other qualities or benefits? Magic items could have curses, but I scratched all that because I think that's kind of stupid. You would never hold on to a magical item that's also cursed. I just don't see a situation where the benefits outweigh the risks. Shadowdark is deadlier, so you might die. So here's some armor benefits. You can see here, you can randomly roll that. Potion benefits, randomly roll that. So I'm doing this just so you can pause and do it. If you're interested in utility type, here's your 1d20. If you have a scroll, tiers 1 through 5. And you can find Shadowdark spells online if you don't have the core rules with you. I think I'll put a link in the description of a website that has a list of spells. There's utility benefits, weapon benefits. So if you not only gonna get the attack bonus, but if you happen to get a benefit, 1 or 2, roll this. And I think that's it. I think we're pretty much ready to go. Pretty decent timing. Where your character should be made, you should be ready to go, and we can just go ahead and get ready to begin. So,
it has been several hundred years since the collapse of the Astoria Golden Age. A collapse caused by power and magic. Great houses have fallen. Magic knowledge has been all but lost, and all major cities have been abandoned and overrun by plant life and monsters. All that is left are barricaded, small, secluded hamlets, villages, and scarce towns. You are in the age of ruin. It is also the age of the few who dare leave their protected walls seek fortune, the better life. Be part of the few, the bold who seek to rebuild, face the dangers unearthed arcana. Begins now.
So welcome to St. Abby's. It's been 700 years since the collapse of civilization. And if you've been here with us for a long time, you know we started at World's End. There's a PDF with some NPCs at Don Franco 3 Games, the RPG Boons tab. So you can see the website's actually listed right below me here. It's my website, no big deal. There's other stuff there. But for this purpose, you can get the World's End for your Shadowdark or actually any OSR-like game. From World's End, we had several battles. If you've been around this long there, at least 8 to 9 episodes, I believe. And St. Abby's a place of agriculture where you do a lot of trade with, at least the rest of World's End does. Was recently getting a lot of refugees. One person had gone mad who turned out to be a mage. And on top of that, there was magic being used there that had never been seen before. You investigated. You found that undead was being animated, statues were being animated, and in this graveyard you found a sobbing man. It appears that he maybe did it all for lost love, and without thought began attacking you. If you survived, you dispatched of him. I know I played it, but myself, all my men died, all my henchmen, and I had like 5, 6, 7 hit points left. I can't remember exactly how much. And then after the dispatching of this man, killing him, burying him, burning his body, whatever it is you wanted to do, you went back to World's End. Yeah, people started coming back. And since the death of the man, it's been 21 days. And in our previous episode, part 1 of 21 Days Later, you found a girl near a field, telling you that she was talking to a scarecrow. Turned out to be an animated scarecrow. You attacked, you had some henchmen with you. A fog began to set into St. Abby's, reminiscent of what had happened before. You went to the graveyard to try to find the body of this mad mage. And when you got here, you got attacked by a cloaker. Right? So if you don't know what that is, it's like a monster that looks like a cape, essentially, but has sharp teeth, ugly little face. You may have been survived your men may have, some of your men may have died or survived. And so here you are. So if you have whatever henchman you know you have, stick with that. If this is your first time here, after hearing all the commotion, you get to town. The town's full of mist. You see there's people huddled together. They explain to you what's going on. You run down and get to the grave and you're offering your help. So this is your first time here. We want to establish how many men you have. Okay, so remember earlier I said pick a character between levels 3 and 6. And that just determines how many henchmen you have. So if you're a level, for example, here, level 1 character, you get 9 henchmen. Your level 6 character, you get 4 henchmen. So just 10 minus your level. In addition, I want you to make a motivational speech that gives you more men. Okay, so this is where your charisma matters. On a successful roll of DC 10, you get 1d4 at least of more henchmen. But for every charisma modifier you have, because it's such an inspirational speech, you can add another d4 of henchmen. I know it seems a lot. We're talking 5d4 up to if you're a super charismatic guy. I doubt you created a super charismatic guy, but you deserve it. Okay, because if you're strong charisma, you're probably weak elsewhere. And if you failed on your motivational speech, you get no more. Okay? In addition, I want you to give, this is your first time here, I want to give you another +2. Let's make it a +3 henchman, because if you were here for part 1, you definitely got some henchmen in the Wheatfield battle. And so the way henchmen work is that you can make any number of henchmen attack a monster, but as soon as they attack and they fail, they die, right? So even if there's one monster and you roll 5 henchmen to attack, if all 5 dice fail, they all die, right? Something weird in combat happened, they die. So sometimes you only want to use 2 henchmen or 1 henchman or 3 henchmen to attack and help you, right? I am going to make a rule for bowmen, but we'll get to that another time. And so you get to this creep here, and you decide that perhaps you hear a moaning. You decide to go down and investigate this tome. So what I want to do, I want to zoom in a little. You start to go down with your men to the crypt. But you notice only one person fits at a time. Okay, so this H here is you. One person fits at a time. You start going down. You start going down. You have your torch. It's completely pitch black down here. And there's a huge updraft. It smells pretty bad. Okay. Glitch. Each of these squares represents around 10 feet. You come down, really bright torch starts coming out of the tunnel here. This is a legit staircase going down. And as you come down here, it's just like how it looks, a big old light is spreading outward. And in fact, yeah, it's about 20-40 feet right diameter. As you get down here, your men begin to get out, surround this area here. You begin to hear a and some stomps. And at that moment, I want you to make a dexterity roll, basically an initiative roll, okay? Make an initiative roll. This is just for you. You are the star. Your henchmen are not the star. Because this giant clay golem basically starts rushing in your direction. If you're able to roll higher than a DC 10, then it doesn't catch you off guard as it runs into sight and takes a swing. So you go ahead and roll your DC 10 initiative, dexterity roll, whatever. Not whatever, but you know what I mean. It's the initiative or dexterity. And if you fail, the golem takes his attack. He takes 3 slam attacks. The other thing I didn't mention, I guess, about the henchman is like the henchman also, if you take a hit, you can sacrifice a henchman to take the hit instead. Okay? So golem makes 3 slam attacks if you failed. Otherwise, go ahead and take your first 2 attacks. Remember, we're using the 2-point combat action system. Here it is. So you can make 1 attack or 2 attacks. And you can use as many henchmen as you want, okay? Here's the column stats. Now this is the moment where I can't really do anything. This is your solo RPG play, but I will take the first 3 attacks if you want. And let's not count those. We're not going to. I know I got a natural 20. There. First 3 slam attacks if you failed. 19, 11. Actually, he has bonuses. So apologies real quick. I forgot the stats. Plus 6 to the damn attack. This guy is a beast. So plus 6, 25, 17, and an 11. Did it hit? Alright. Go ahead and battle that out. 2-point action system. Henchman rules. I'm writing down so you can pause the video and go ahead and do all that. Now, if you're back, it's because you survived, and the golem is destroyed, broken into pieces, unanimated. Okay? So now you're down here in this hallway, and we do want to randomize this a little, right? So we're swinging our torches. We see a pathway here to your right and a pathway to your left. And if you move just a little forward, there's a door there that has no hinges, no nothing. We don't know what to make of it. So we will say you go to the door. Can't open it for some reason. There's just no way. So you go back this way. And so we're going to make a roll. If you roll low, we're going to go high. If we roll low, we're going to go low. Or bottom here, if we go roll high, we're going to go top side, okay? So let's sweep that 1d20, throw it into the box. Yeah, get in there. Rolled high, so we're going to go to the top. You start going up this way. Okay, you see, you have your torch. You're taking your time. You're being cautious. You're not a fool. And as you get there, you notice that there's a door there. And the door is cracked open, okay? Now here's the thing. If you're a thief or a dungeon delver, that's like a curse scroll number 5, 6, or something like that, then you noticed right, you're going in. The door's cracked. You go in. Remember, you might have an army of guys with you. Each of these squares is 10. You go in, the door is cracked. And if you're Delver DC 10, you notice something. Only if you're a Delver or a thief. Alright, if you succeed, you notice that there's a plate right underneath this statue here. There's a plate right there. And you are able to avoid it, okay? If not, then this statue animates itself. Or animates itself. It animates and begins to attack you. Okay? Oh, now put the notes in here. Alright, there is a statue there. Oh, you know what I put down? It's DC 10 for the Delver, Thief, or 15 for a normal person. Okay, so if you fail though, this stone statue jumps down and begins to attack you. Here are the basic stats. It has no bonuses to hit, armor class of 15, 12 hit points, strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, charisma. Okay, so you can battle that out there. And there's a reason why I use this stat block. If you go to donfranco3games.com, there's a new class I created there called the Vitaemancer, which I think is a little more true in nature in terms of being like a necromancer. Okay, so you can go ahead and battle that out. 2-point action system. I also have this 2-point action system at donfranco3 games. You can just download the chart itself. Okay, so we're gonna make an assumption. We're gonna say you paused the video and you killed Stone, there's nothing else in this room. We got sidetracked, essentially. I didn't mean to waste your time. Remember, the roll was a random roll. The dice are gonna do what the dice are gonna do. So next we go down here. And we go through this pathway. And now you're being cautious, you're looking around, and again, I want you to make a DC 10. If you're a thief or a delver, you got a DC 10. You notice a trap here, you notice something weird around this door here. And so therefore, you see a trap, but you're unable to disarm it. Okay? It's way beyond you the way it was created. Or it's too complex, or there's an issue with you actually trying to fix it. If you are not a thief or a delver and you automatically walk up and a spike flies out, does 1d8 points of damage, yes. There's so many of you, so it's going to kill somebody. Or you take the damage, it's up to you. Okay? After that, you take a look, you find nothing, the door still is shut. But as you go back here, you look up here, you see there is a lever on this column here. You pull it down, the door opens. Okay, you go into the room. You're being cautious, you're looking around. If there's something to see or something important, I would let you know. But you see nothing. And what you do see on the floor is a box. Now, you don't have to make any roll, right? I'm telling you, there's nothing here. You open up the box, and you see a very thick tome. Inside of it, a spell book. If you are a priest, any spell casting class, you look into this book, and it's not exactly the type of magical language that you would recognize, but you know it's dealing with magic. And you can almost translate the title of the tome. Something about life. Life. Otherwise, you can't tell what else it says. It would take a long time for you to decipher this tome, essentially. So you take the book. It's a new spell book. And you go back out. Oh, underneath the spell book, after you got spell, you do notice that, again, no DC check. It's noticeable enough that there's some type of movable bottom of the box. It looks like it's movable. Is the correct word I'm thinking here? You can remove the panel, and as you move the panel, you see there is another lever there. So the entire box does not move. The book is in this box. The box is kind of stuck to the ground. You pull the lever and you hear a clinking sound down the hall. Okay, so you go back. You look, and this bottom door is open. All right, so you continue to head down towards this entrance area. You go through this door. Again, there's no rolls to be made. Okay. I'm not going to all of a sudden bamboozle you with something weird. I forgot to go over the Golem Counter-Strike rules. Apologies. If you didn't do them, it's fine. And you find this giant box, big enough, obviously, to house a man. 10 feet by 5 feet. You look inside, and you see a red gem, but it seems to have, like, red vines around it. Okay? Now, if you're a priest, magic user, you recognize that this is magical nature. And you recognize that these vines look a little more biological. They look like dried red arteries. And so you know that this gem is magical of some kind. But you're not sure what to make of it. Okay? But if you're a priest or a witch, you know what? Let's just give it to all magic users. If you have any spell casting ability, I want you to make a DC 15 check. Make it Arcana. Make it Lore. Nah, it has to be Arcana or magic lore, something like that, whatever the skill is. I know Shadowdark has a weird list of skills. Probably the most complex thing about Shadowdark is the skill list. If you succeed, you've seen something or heard of something like this. It's basically a phylactery, and it's trying to grow something, bring something back from death. And at that moment, you can choose to destroy it or keep it. All right, so if it's going to bring back something, it's not going to be usable by you. But maybe the connection could be between that and the book. Okay? If you're not a magic user and you don't know, then basically it's just a giant gem that has some weird cool binds tightly attached to it that you can't seem to remove with your hands or a dagger. But you also notice there's a cave in this direction. Like, you have plenty of men with you. Assuming that the golem did not kill everybody. I should have used those as a sweeping attack. That's a badass. But you decide to continue to explore. Okay. See some weird glowing mushrooms, fungus, fungi. One more. Continue to go down. By the way, this map is made on Carne. I found it online. Can we see the top here? I want to give props to whoever map this is. Okay. I didn't create this map. It was online. I thought it was good for this adventure. I know this is a little bit of a sidetrack. But we want to give respect. So to Baran Burrito, never mind the connotations there, but Baran Burrito, an incarnate map, created this, and I pulled it offline. All right, so going down, back to the adventure. We're back at the cave now. Come on, baby. Come with me. We're crawling through this. We see some weird gems. They're not... I guess only if you're a delver, you know that these are just standard crystals. Like, there's not magical properties. And the fungus themselves, you don't know if they're poisonous, but you're allowed to take it. So for your personal gains and your equipment, it'll take up one slot. You can grab some mushrooms, put them in a sack. You continue to head down the path. You're winding. Occasionally you think you hear a weird growling noise, okay? But you're not sure if what you're hearing is what you're hearing, right? So it splits into two. It doesn't really matter for us. We're gonna go down. You continue to travel down this tunnel. And then something weird happens, okay? I want you to make a DC 15 perception or wisdom check or notice check, whatever is easiest. As you're walking over here, there happens to be a column right here. And if you do a DC 15, you succeed, then you notice that it's actually a stone monster. It has arms, and you get to take 2 attacks at it. If you do not make your DC 15 check, oh my god, it was DC 18 originally, but we're going to say DC 15. Then it is this monster right here begins to lash out and start attacking you. All right, let me pull the stat block. It should be really close by. It is a roper. Okay. Don't forget 2-point combat action system. 14 armor class, 31 hit points, 4 tendril attacks. Okay, double near, so it reaches everybody here. Now these distances don't really matter for the sake of us, but it's 1d plus 4 to the attack, 1d6 damage if he does grab you, so it's a whip and a grab. And then 4 tendrils and 1 bite. So I'm gonna assume that if it does get you with the tendril, then it takes the bite as well. Okay. Oh, actually no. It is and. Okay. So actually, it's just a bite. So somebody happens to be there. So make the 4 attacks. So it's 1 and so 5 attacks. 5 freaking attacks. Okay, now you're happy you got all those henchmen? All right, here's the rules for the grab. We're not going to use full. Okay, this is nice. If you want to get complex, the tendrils here, AC 18 each, 4 plus damage to 1 severs it. So if you happen to, we can weapon attack it. It doesn't say otherwise, which means basically if you attack one of the arms and you can't break an AC of 18, you can't chop off the arms. That's pretty awesome, pretty deadly. On a 1 to 2, if this is the Counter-Strike rules, all right? So on your roll, you fumble and bumble on a 1 to 2, and basically it uses this strength attack here, this grab attack against you. Auto hits next round, DC 15 strength on your turn to break free. Because it is a 2-point action system, on your turn you can roll twice, right? So the 2-point action system gives heroes a little bit ability to survive better. You are the star of the game, you are the best. You should be able to try to break free from these guys. So he's attacking. Remember your henchman rolls. Use as many henchmen as you want. They need to roll 14 or higher or they die. And again, if you take the hit, so anytime you roll, this monster's attacks, they're all directed towards your armor class. That's the benefit of it. So if you have good armor class, higher likely chance that your henchman will survive. But every hit, you can also sacrifice a henchman instead of taking the 1d6 damage. And remember, there's a bite in there too, so you do 4 tendrils and also roll for a bite attack. No matter the damage, 1 henchman dies with each hit. Okay, so go on and roll that. Henchman rolls 3 damage, must roll 14 or higher. You roll crappy 1 to 2 on your attack roll. Remember, you got 2 attacks. So I'm assuming you're pausing and you're doing this battle here. Now, whatever henchman you have the right to turn around right now. You may have lost all your henchmen. You actually have the right to run. This monster is pretty stationary. It moves pretty slow. The move is close. MV, move close. And for the case of, I'm going to say it moves really slow. It's a big thing. It can't move as fast as you. So it's going to move around 15 feet per its turn. So you have the ability to escape and run away from this. If you're going this way, you're going to essentially be trapped, right? So you'll be trapped if you go south by this monster. So don't go that way, so you can escape. But if you survived, it's not over. This is Shadowdark. This is OSR. Life expectancy is not good. As you're getting here, you start seeing a green light coming from the south. And you begin to hear, oh, kind of like in those movies, that double chant sound. Get closer. And I want you to make a stealth check. Alright? DC 10. You have a torch with you, so it's really bright. It's letting in a lot of light. But you also notice a lot of light is coming out of this room. Green. Is it green? Yellow. Some color. Green, yellow. DC 10. Dexterity stealth check. All your men are behind you. Alright? You say, hold up. Now, if you want to send one of your henchmen, it's a DC 15 for your henchmen. Now, whether or not you succeed on your stealth will determine whether or not these monsters see you. So go ahead and roll that. On a fail, these are wraiths, and there is a Shinto load of them. There's 4 of them. These 4 wraiths will come and attack you if you failed your stealth check. If you succeeded, you have the right to walk away. Turn around. This doesn't seem to be related to what's going on up top. You can leave and you can survive. Especially if it's just you and like 3 henchmen, you definitely need to run. If you're feeling bold, if you have a lot of henchmen with you, you can fight the 4 wraiths, but at any time you can run away. The problem is that these wraiths get to, they can move near. All right, that's a significant distance. So you basically can't run away from these wraiths. I would allow you to sacrifice your men to slow them down so that you, the hero, can survive. If you want to fight these guys. If by some miracle you are able to survive, you do find an interdimensional Portal. Remember, 2-point action system for your hero. Here. I say you dare not go in because you don't know how it works, but you found it, and you can decide to bury it down here, back at the entrance. And I think that's it, everybody. Age of Ruin and Exploration. 700 years after the collapse of civilization. The magic is out there, the monsters are out there, it's a dangerous world, people stay in small hamlets. You are in St. Abby's, Part 2. Now, the thing about these wraiths is they will not leave this cavern. They're chanting here and they're protecting this gem here. That gem is magical in nature. It's actually powering the portal as well as their chant. So if you kill all these guys, the crystal begins to fade and the portal itself begins to glitch, and finally it just turns off. Okay, thank you for stopping by. I'm Don Franco 3.